Picture this, you're sipping your morning coffee, enjoying the tranquility of your neighborhood in Cle Elum, Washington. Suddenly, the unthinkable news breaks, your town has gone bankrupt. Life in Cle Elum, Washington seemed like a peaceful idyll. It was the kind of town where everyone knew their neighbors and the pace of life was slower and sweeter than anywhere else. But looks can be deceiving because behind this idyllic facade, a financial storm was brewing. They had plans to transform a piece of land near the Yakamo River into something that would bring more people and money into Cle Elum. Their vision involved building houses, shops, and even a golf course, but not everyone shared their enthusiasm. Allegations were made, counterclaims were filed, and the once tranquil town was engulfed in a web of lawsuits and court proceedings. The emotional toll on the residents was immense. They watched their town transform from a haven of peace into a battleground of conflicting interests. The sense of community and camaraderie that had once been their town's hallmark began to fray, giving way to suspicion and division. The pressure was intense, and the stakes were incredibly high. On November 7, 2023, they made a unanimous decision to file for Chapter 9 bankruptcy. It allowed them to halt the looming account garnishment and prevented them from being forced to pay the full $25.9 million immediately. As the town's leaders made this momentous decision, they knew it would send shockwaves through Cle Elum. It was a gamble, one that carried substantial risks, but it was a risk they had to take to protect their town from immediate financial catastrophe. It was a strategic maneuver designed to give them breathing room to negotiate and hopefully reach a more manageable agreement. As Cle Elum grappled with its financial crisis, there were attempts to reach a compromise. Behind the scenes, negotiations were taking place, aiming to find a middle ground that could ease the tension and pave the way for a resolution. The city made several offers to City Heights Holdings, hoping to settle the debt for a more manageable amount. These offers were not mere gestures. They were carefully calculated attempts to strike a balance between the town's financial health and its commitment to its creditors. Instead, it shifts the burden to the court system, which will now determine how and when the debt should be repaid. They needed to ensure the continued delivery of essential services like water, sewage, and waste collection. At the same time, they had to contend with the possibility of job losses and the impact it would have on their residents. It's a testament to how quickly a once idyllic town can find itself on the brink of financial ruin. It's a cautionary tale that highlights the importance of careful planning, transparent governance, and the need for empathy in times of crisis. We must recognize the challenges they face and the courage it takes to navigate such turbulent times. The bankruptcy of Cle Elum is a complex issue with no easy answers. It's a situation that could have been avoided with better planning and foresight. But now it's a reality that the town must confront head-on. The residents knew that they were in for a long, hard fight, one that would test their resilience and their spirit as a community. The residents of Cle Elum are not just statistics. They are individuals who once enjoyed a peaceful life in a town they loved. Now they face an uncertain future, grappling with fear and anxiety about what the next chapter might hold. The residents hoped for leniency and understanding, recognizing the unique challenges their town faced. But they also knew that the judge's decision would be based on the law and the facts of the case, regardless of the town's personal circumstances. It was a desperate move, a Hail Mary that aimed to stop the immediate threat and buy them time to figure out a way out of this mess. City Heights Holdings rejected the city's offers, sticking to their demand for the full $25.9 million. They deserve a resolution that allows them to rebuild their lives and their community without the burden of an overwhelming debt. They need our support, our understanding, and our solidarity. Let us stand together with the town of Cle Elum during this challenging time and hope for a brighter future ahead. It created a stalemate, a deadlock that threatened to push Cle Elum further into the abyss. The lack of a compromise only added to the anxiety and uncertainty that had become the norm for the town's residents. Every second that passed brought them closer to the edge of financial disaster. He stated that his company had drafted a resolution and sent it to the city for review, but hadn't heard back before the city declared bankruptcy. It was a defining moment for the town and its residents. As they navigated this uncharted territory, they knew that every decision they made would have lasting implications. It painted a picture of a breakdown in communication, leaving many questions unanswered and adding to the confusion surrounding the case. And they knew that if they didn't act swiftly, the consequences would be dire for the town and its residents. As Cle Elum entered this new phase, its residents braced for a future marked by uncertainty and financial strain. The road ahead was long and arduous, and they knew that they were in for a bumpy ride. Some residents feared it would disrupt the town's tranquil atmosphere, bringing along traffic congestion and overcrowding. It was a stark reminder of the precarious situation their town now found itself in. The question on everyone's lips was, what now? The bankruptcy didn't erase the debt. Instead, it shifted the battle to a new arena, the courtroom. It meant that instead of dealing with a private developer, they would now have to navigate the complexities of a legal proceeding overseen by a judge. Their opposition grew stronger, turning the proposal from a mere development project into a symbol of discord that would haunt the town for years to come. They faced a monumental decision that would shape the fate of Cle Elum and its residents forever. The immediate concern was the financial health of the town. How could they possibly come up with $25.9 million to satisfy the court's ruling? The amount was astronomical, dwarfing the town's annual budget, which hovered around $5 million. It was a daunting challenge that seemed almost insurmountable. This isn't a joke or a movie scene. It's a harsh reality for the residents of Cle Elum, a small town grappling with a staggering $26 million debt. By a narrow margin, they rejected the proposal. The developer felt that their rights were infringed upon and decided to take the town to court. What followed was a lengthy legal process filled with twists and turns that kept the community on edge. It's a sum so large that it threatens to rip the very fabric of their community apart. In the early 2000s, the town had an opportunity to change its economic landscape. The court ruled in favor of the developer, awarding them a staggering $25.9 million. It was an astonishing sum that threatened to push the town into the abyss of financial ruin. For the residents of Cle Elum, it was a crushing blow. They had hoped for a resolution, but this verdict shattered their hopes and left them bracing for impact. They considered a proposition that could have brought in new businesses and breathed fresh life into the local economy. But the proposal hit a snag. Residents weren't exactly thrilled about the idea, and the project didn't materialize. This wasn't just a simple disagreement. It sparked a major rift in the community, polarizing residents and setting the stage for a decade-long legal battle that would ultimately lead to the downfall of the town. So how did this seemingly idyllic town get into such a precarious position? The answer lies in a tale of missed opportunities, legal battles, and a series of unfortunate choices that have left Cle Elum teetering on the edge of financial disaster. This debt has plunged their community into uncharted waters, forcing them to declare bankruptcy and leaving them wondering what the future holds. Join us as we dig deep into this unfolding crisis, exploring what led Cle Elum to the brink of financial ruin, the challenges it faces, and the tough decisions it must make to navigate this uncharted territory. Imagine living in a town where the biggest news revolved around weekend farmers markets and high school sports events. Fast forward to the present day, and Cle Elum finds itself staring into the abyss of a $26 million debt. Now, here's where the story takes a turn. The driving force behind the proposal was a development company called City Heights Holdings. But then came the pivotal moment in 2008. The residents' concerns culminated in a vote, one that would shape the town's future in ways nobody could have predicted. As the years went by, the battle between the developer and the town intensified. Finally, in August 2023, the verdict was delivered. As the dust settled and the full weight of the verdict sunk in, the town council found itself at a crossroads. With time ticking and the threat of immediate account garnishment looming, the town council had to act fast. They couldn't afford to sit and wait. Faced with this grim reality, the Cle Elum City Council took a giant leap, one that shocked the community and sent ripples far beyond their borders. In essence, declaring bankruptcy was their way of hitting the pause button on the financial crisis. This was not a choice made lightly. It was a last resort born out of desperation and necessity. For the residents of Cle Elum, the news of the bankruptcy hit them like a tidal wave. Moreover, the bankruptcy raised concerns about the town's ability to deliver on its financial obligations going forward. Despite the gravity of the situation, there was a glimmer of hope on the horizon. However, despite these efforts, an agreement remained elusive. Adding another layer of complexity to this tangled web, the developer's CEO, Sean Northrop, expressed surprise over the city's bankruptcy filing. Meanwhile, the shadow of the bankruptcy loomed large over Cle Elum. It wasn't just a legal or financial matter. The path forward was fraught with challenges. Bankruptcy doesn't absolve Cle Elum of its debt. In the coming days and weeks, Cle Elum would face numerous hurdles, each more daunting than the last. As the bankruptcy proceedings commenced, all eyes were on the judge assigned to the case. The bankruptcy of Cle Elum is a stark reminder of the fragility of our communities. As Cle Elum moves forward, it's essential to remember that behind the headlines and legal jargon, there are real people with real stories. It's crucial that we approach their story with sensitivity and understanding. As the case unfolds, we can only hope for the best for Cle Elum and its residents.